Happy Friday. Hello. It's jewelry making time. How are you today? Let me show you my show and tell today. Today I'm wearing brown, so I got some gold on. These are one of my favorite pair of earrings that I've ever made. They were made with some vintage hearts that I found. I think they're very, very kind of regal looking. Look at that cool little black bead there. Isn't that cool looking? Black stones in it. They're my earrings. Then I have a beautiful coin that someone um, dented, made it like a moon shape out of it. Put it on a pendant. Made a pendant out of it, out of a bale. I bought that years ago. And then this is chain that I absolutely love that I've made at the bottom. I've put so it's interchangeable. I can pull this off and take this focal off, wear it plain, or add the focal. My husband bought me this at one of the bead shows we were at. It's so pretty on both sides. I'm not sure which side's which. So either way, I think it looks nice. So at the bottom of this, I put a big jump ring with a big clasp. So how are you doing? Christmas is almost here. People are super busy. And I had a project all in mind. And there's certain projects that I really want this leather pearl necklace. And what I need a few of you jewelry people here with me to make it. Because this one, I think I just need help with it. I don't know. I'm not able to. I could either fumble with you with it today or we could do a whole different project. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But I'll show you some of the necklaces. I've told you before that I've been commissioned to sell sterling charms, and I have them on my website actually on my Etsy site. And I also have a layer of focal necklaces. Now, I'm not crazy about the chains on them. They're rhodium chains, and they're thin. I mean, you could wear them easily. They're nice, but what I would do is I would put different chains on them. But you could easily wear them like this. They're pretty sturdy, nice chains. They're dainty. So I picked a few of the pieces that I liked a lot, and I've photographed them and I'm gonna put them in my Etsy shop soon, and I thought I'd show them to you today. Let me show you first my wrist. This is a cool piece I got at the thrift store years and years and years ago. And then this piece here is very special. It's got my mother-in-law's name on it. It's engraved. It's a stretchy kind of bracelet. And I make that a part of my stack when I wear gold. It's got Guinevere B. Winpegler on it. That's her name engraved. And then here was a pendant that she had. I took one of her old watches bands, and it had these nice holes on both sides, so I just made a bracelet out of it. This here I got not too long ago at a thrift store. It's got the coolest little clasp on it. I've never seen a clasp quite like it. And I was going to make earrings out of those, and I just ended up leaving them like they were. I thought they were pretty cool. So, do we brave it and try to make this pearl necklace? I think it's the knots. I think I need a knot session. I think I need to feel confident in making my knots. And they always look so nice and neat in the pictures and when they do them. And when I do them, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look quite like theirs. And so I take it out and put it and start it over again. So, well, now that I showed off my show and tell, let's show you to my table and show you what I got here. And these are the necklaces that Ooh, my stand's doing a little dance there. Sorry about that on your eyes. It's doing a little dance. Let me slide this over so you can see them. This is a pretty brown stone. I'm not sure what the stone in it is, but that's the bigger piece. This is the real dainty, pretty blue pearl, pretty blue turquoise. A little clawfoot pendant with a little bit of pinkish, maybe a tint of green and white stone in that one. This one's one of my favorite, this little bar. It's just a little bar with three stones in it, three turquoise stones, and then another turquoise one, and then this pretty brown one. There they go. We're going to be putting those in the shop. So you're welcome to gander at those a minute. I'm going to put them back in their little baggies while I contemplate if we're going to do pearls or I only have one of each of these. I may have some different styles with those pearl drop ones or teardrop ones. I think I have two of these, and I might have more than one of those. These are kind of limited. And once I just pulled, some out. Once I get through all of those, I'll get all of those on there like I did all the silver or the charms. It takes me a while to go through it. Everything was on a card. Everything was on a card like this. So I had to take everything off the cards. I do it a little bit at a time. Your fingers will get pretty sore after you do it a while. I have lots of post earrings. I've been putting all the post earrings in one spot so we can see what we got. And then people can choose if there's something that they like. Okay, that was fun showing those. Doing jewelry is fun. I wanted to show you, I did finish these last time. I might have had these laying out on the table and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. And this is how these turned out. I love how they turned out. Just happened to have that big spirally jump ring in there. I think that like makes it. And then I have these beautiful little beads. I was dying to use them, and so they went really well in that. Okay, so I'm going to have a lot more blue. Since I have a lot more blue, I was trying to practice on this piece, and I can pretty much figure if I do 1, 2, 3, and then pull the thread back through. Let's see how it goes since I'm on camera. Wouldn't that be nice if it just turned out evenly and nicely? And slide it. I can get a knot. Nice. See, that is not how the knot on the screen looks. So that is why I do it. That's why I don't feel confident in my knots. But I really, really want to make this necklace. I'll show you. I have these big whole pearls. I need some of my jewelry friends on here with me today. I don't have my screen pulled up, so I don't see who's there. But I have these big whole pearls, and I would really like to make this like floating pearl necklace. And I can easily do an overhand knot, and that's what I could do with all of these. Just do an overhand knot like that on them. But I think I'll study this a little bit more and come back to it. And if you're an expert at it and you have ideas, please share them, because that's how we learn making jewelry. We hang with people who make jewelry, and then we learn how to make jewelry. So, in the sterling that I have, I found these cool little pieces. I'll just show these to you. I'm going to make earrings out of these. Aren't these just darling? Look at those. Little tomahawks. They even do reverse too. Isn't that sweet? They're just very sweet. I like those very much. If I had some stones like right on the table that would go with them, I'd just make them right now. But they are darling little tomahawks. So how about we make something that I've had in mind for a while. Let me get my wire out. I got this. It says medium beading string, 7-strand. Okay, I got my beading wire out. Here it is. I knew I had one started. And I am going to make a necklace. So I'm going to pull my Facebook page up so I can see y'all. My hubby's been out of town this week. That's been very odd to have him gone. He gets to come back tonight. I'm glad of it. Just checked my sound and it sounds like I'm on. Yes. Yes. He gets to come back tonight. Hello. Say hello. Okay, so you know what I want to do? Let me see if these little beads. This is a very simple little necklace that I've been wanting to make. And sometimes I'm driven by color. And I'll have to tell you, I'm driven by the color of these little beads. And I want to see, since they're so small, they do fit on there. And the pendant that I really want to do with those was right here in front of me. And now I don't see it. Okay, where'd my little pendant go? Here it is. Look at that. It's got a brownish tint to it. So I have been thinking more simply lately on making some things because the simple is what people are wearing now. Now I like the more. Look at that. Aren't they cute? They look almost like between 11 and a 15. Someone might say they're 11, but is there a 10? or a 12? They're very small. So I wonder if wouldn't it be nice if I could just transfer that right over without picking each one of them up? That would be nice. It'll go pretty fast. So let's make this dainty little necklace. Keep it simple today because evidently my brain needs a break to go learn to make those leather knots. So my husband is a welder and he is welding on a site this week. He's had quite an eventful week. And I want to make this a short necklace, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And I always cut it pretty long because, where are those new clippers of mine? I got me a new pair of clippers. I got to take those old ones out of here and use my new ones. That's pitiful. Where's my new clippers at? I just got me some new clippers. That's interesting. Oh, here they are. It's time for them to come out of the drawer. Look at this. Snip. That's what happens when you have nice new ones. Those other ones, I think I'm going to see if I can file them down. But look at that. That's how bad that was. So he's down there working on, I believe it's a condominium welding, and he might be going down there for I don't know how many weeks. And I think this is the first time he's ever really traveled with his job. where you couldn't come home at night. It's been different, you know. When you're by yourself, you have to do pretty much everything. And that's what I've been doing. A little bit of everything. So sometimes doing jewelry can be, I find when I do something like this, it's relaxing, meditative. So I told you I've been in doing this 21-day gratitude thing with this group. It's been a lot of fun. The lady was very creative who put it together. She comes on and does a Zoom with us once a week. Just very talented. She could make a little book out of what she put together. Well, this one day this week the assignment was to find a stranger and do a kindness. So, I was out yesterday and it crossed my mind a couple of times. What could I do? And I happened to have these $2 bills. And for some reason, everybody loves these $2 bills. Zane's dad used to always give them out to people. And I have a stack of them from his collection. And so I saw this elderly lady. She even looked like she might be European or something. I don't know, but she had like a little scarf on her head, like the diamond scarf like we used to wear years ago. And I went up to her and I said, "Can you help me with an assignment?" And I felt kind of bad doing it. Isn't that sad that I felt kind of bad doing it? Because, I didn't want to scare her. I said, "Look, I have an assignment to do a kindness to someone I don't know." I said, "Hey, here's a $2 bill." And then I said, "Hey," and you could see she's like leery of me. And I said, "Do you have any grandkids?" And I said, "Yes, how many?" She said, "2." I said, "Well, wait a minute." So I ran back to my car and I got some more. And I gave her 2 more. I said, "Here, one for you and one for you, more for your grandchild." And she goes, "Thank you." But you could tell she was like, "Lady, are you crazy?" I was like, "Yeah, in this crazy world right now, it was fun to be kind to someone and give her a story to go home and tell her grandkids that somebody was kind and just gave a $2 bill." And I was just grateful that something came to mind because I was just like, what am I going to do? I thought to give a 50-cent piece to go buy coffee or something, but I didn't really want coffee. Anyway, it was fun. They talk about it in that, with everything crazy going on, it does help rewire your brain and see that there is good amongst everything that's crazy that's going on. And I need that. Everybody needs that. But when things get really hard, and we start to crack, that's where we see where our holes are in our maturity. And, oftentimes that we're all going to have moments like that. And learning the ability to have grace and forgiveness towards one another when we do crack, I think is like a missing gem of a skill. And it's not easy to do, but it is necessary. So you see where I'm going with this, don't you, with this necklace? I am just going to put these beads on and add this beautiful charm to it. Simplicity. So anyway, that's going to look really nice, and I think I'm going to give this away as a gift today. I often sell things. I've been going through, oh, that's a different color bead mixed in there. We don't really want that one in there. But and I could stop and add some small silver things in between or somewhere. Let's see where we're at now. This would be here, and this would go like this. I could just let me just get 2 little gold pieces and add them in there. I think plain, it's funny. Plain is nice, but it's going to be hard for me to do plain. And I won't say hard, just different, I'm going to get me a class 2 on over here to go on that. And I don't happen to see my silver container. Sometimes they get put out of place. And I don't see it. So that's okay. We'll just keep it simple like that. We'll just keep it simple. But if you had silver pieces, which I have silver pieces, I have a whole bunch of silver pieces. We could add them right there. Actually, I do have right here in this container, and I have a zillion containers. I got these cool ones. Let's put one of these on each side, just for the fun of it. It'll give it a little uniqueness. These are just little teeny spacers. So now that I'm doing this, I'm going to have to watch that I do the same thing on both sides, because I'm making it, if you're all about it being all silver or gold, you're in trouble now, because the pendant is gold and the beads are silver. And so what might be better even is if I put gold in there. But, when it comes to mixing metals, I don't think it is a big deal. And actually, I'm going to do it a lot closer. I don't mind doing that a lot closer. What do you think of that? There we go. A lot closer. Okay, so now I'm going to add beads. And because these are really small, I'm going to just, I'm not going to count them for both sides. I'm just going to add them. When I get on these lives, they just fly by. I have to really make sure I stay on task, So I was telling you that I sell things on Facebook Market, and I've been going through and getting, we took care of my parents, Zane's parents, so we inherited some really cool, like, antique things that we've used and enjoyed, and it's time to just let them go and let someone else enjoy them. So I've been getting rid of the bigger things, and I'd forgotten we had these. Zane brought them in from the shop, and they were these big, beautiful, leather strapped, made really nice sleigh bells. And I did bring some back things from their house that I thought, would be fun to sell. And I'd forgotten they were out there, and I put them online, and a couple people have asked about them. And the company that makes them are still around. And I learned that because a lady started talking to me asking, or she said she worked there years ago. So she was telling me about them, and we were having a grand conversation back and forth. And I almost didn't ask her where she was from. You're online, you just assume someone's far away. And I said, where do you live? And she said, Sibley. And I said, Sibley? I said, Sibley, Missouri? She said, yes. I said, well, I live in the town right next to you. And so we're having coffee today. And it was so fun. She told me that was one of her funnest jobs, and all, about working there and what their name was, and, that I had a fair price on them. And it was pretty interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to a coffee shop and visit, and all over a Facebook page post on Facebook Market. How cool is that? So I think I'll take this to her. I don't know if she wears earrings, but most people wear jewelry. And this is a very fun Christmassy festive necklace. I'm going to make it a short necklace so that it highlights the pendant. So my little puppy that I don't show on camera anymore, he doesn't come downstairs with me anymore. He's not allowed to come downstairs until he turns 10. He just had a birthday this week. He goes potty when he comes down here, and I just can't have that. I had to get the carpet cleaner out, clean it all up, and I'm like, buddy, you can't come downstairs anymore. You are banned. So he turned 1 today, and I will say he's doing a little bit better, doing his business outside. But I still have to manage it a good bit. He doesn't seem to want to tell me when he goes outside. And he knows when he goes inside and I catch him, but he doesn't like go to the door and say, hey, I gotta go or whatever. So hopefully he'll get it. I have dogs are dogs' best trainers, and I have 2 dogs. And let's get those pearls out of here. I have 2 dogs that dogs train dogs. And so they all go out and go to the bathroom together. He's getting that down really well. But some people told me that smaller dogs have a hard time and have a smaller bladder. I don't know. My little Pixel that I had before that was small, I didn't seem to have that issue with her at all. So I got my first Christmas card in the mail. I love the Christmas card days. I loved doing cards. I always did a newsletter. I don't think I'm going to do it this year unless I decide to do it at the last minute and get inspired to do it. Yeah, Christmas card days were fun. There was one day I got some mail. I get my email, I get my notification in the mail. You can sign up for that, and my mail didn't come the other day. And often this time of year, we get people coming out here because we're on country road, and they go through our mailbox and steal our mail to see if but they usually throw it on the ground. But I didn't get mail one day. It has my tax bill in it and everything, and some Christmas cards. So I hope it didn't get. I'm gonna cut that. It's bent there. I'm gonna cut that off, make that a little easier. So today's project is really just stringing. This is what you call stringing beads. These just happen to be really small ones. And I don't think I've done a necklace yet online. Usually they'd be a little more, variety in beads are bigger and not as slow, but this is a simple, easy, and if you've done any seed beading of any kind, you got lots of seed beads that you could go and make. All you gotta do is get a pendant. All you gotta do is sit here and take the time to put them on and add a clasp. That's what we're gonna do. You got to find ways to use those seed beads up before we die, because golly, how many seed beads do we have? We got millions of them if we were to count them all. See, isn't that pretty? I like that. I love those little beads. I got a whole hank of them, so I'll have to get some in some earrings too. Got these from in my swag bag that I got from Jill McKay. She had where she sold a bag of stuff. So thanks for hanging with me, making jewelry. I'm going to work on those leather knots, and dang, we're going to do a leather pearl necklace once I get those knots down. My husband's good at knots. He did Boy Scout stuff, and he can do all kinds of knots. He even made me those little tubes to do them, and I tried it with that, and they didn't look very neat when I was done them. I watched videos, and I was like, okay. When I got up this morning, I said, well, I still don't feel that comfortable. Do I give it a go? So we'll get there. You know what might look nice on this instead of going, I know I'm trying to keep it simple, but I keep trying to change my mind on what I want to do, right? Don't do it. Don't make it complicated. But, another thing, I could do this and then do the rest of it in a silver bead. That would be really pretty too, wouldn't it? Or gold beads, or gold and silver go back and forth. That would be pretty, very pretty. Come on, Wendy, stay simple. We can do this. Stay simple. Since Zane's been gone, I haven't slept that well because I'm off my schedule. So just today, I was like, oh, I think I want to cancel. I was like, no, you committed to doing this, so get your buns up. Because I stayed up. I've been, my little gal that's in the nursing home having her first grandbaby. And it's interesting. She has a brain injury, and so she doesn't remember things well. And she asked if she wished she could make a baby blanket for her new grandbaby. And I said, well, honey, I can make that for you. And it's funny, she can't remember anything, but boy, she remembered to ask me, are you still making that Afghan bait for the baby? I said, I am. So it's just interesting how her brain, where she has an injury, she can remember things. So the brain is interesting. It really is interesting. So do we just keep going? Do we just keep going and leave it like that? Or do we add a different kind of bead? Or what do we do? I just love those colors. Let me see if I can find my silver box. I see my gold box, but my silver box seems to be missing in action. And because I'm on live, sometimes you don't see as clear. So it could just be that it's there and I'm just not seeing it. Oh, look, there's the silver one. See, it's right under my eyes, and there's the gold one. Now the key is, are there two types of beads that would be perfect together in this necklace? And I'm going to say yes. There are These might be too big. Yeah, those are too big. Well, that's too bad. Maybe these would work. Aren't beads just cool? Beads are so cool. I wish I'd have found beads sooner in life. Let's see, what about these? Do you like those? I think they're cool. Now the question is, and then I found these, do we do every other, or do we just do, I think that's really pretty. Do we do every other? Well, let me make sure I got this even now, because we want to make sure that we want to make sure we have these even. Does that look even? That does look even. It almost looks like I have to, let me look at this very closely, because we do not want to have to take these out, right? It looks like I need to add a few more beads to this side. So y'all done your Christmas shopping? I have my tree up, and I'm waiting when Zane gets home to have bring my tubs up for the Christmas. Let me check it now. Okay, that's a little more even. And I'm waiting for him to come home because the dog, I put popcorn on the tree. Well, Buster decided he thought he could eat it. So I'm going to try. This could be a catastrophe. It's hard to say. See, isn't that pretty like that? I added that bead there. So what if we add the little bead in between? Would that look cute? Or should we just stick with the silver? What do you think? I gotta think on that a minute. And I have to be sure that I have enough beads for both of them. I think I'm going to stick with just the silver. And maybe I'll just do 3. Three and 3. And then finish it off with the beads. And what I normally do when I'm doing this is I pull it up to my neck to see if, yeah, I like that there. I'm going to push these out of the way because I only want to get these little teeny ones and then add the rest with these. I'm never as concerned about what's behind because it goes behind the neck. And, I don't really want to make what's behind it very, super gorgeous than the rest of the necklace. I always feel like it's hidden beauty back there. So not to, focus and do, too much back there. Now this won't be like a choker. This would be like probably more like what? Would you say that's like 16-inch necklace, like a 16-inch? And I'm at right now, let's see what my ruler says. are right now at about 10. So when we get these beads on to the length that I would need, we're getting close to our time. When we get these on, we will add the clasp, add the focal, and it'll be done. I can tell that the pups were like waiting for Zane at night. They were like, it's awful quiet in here. And what was even weirder last night is they quit. It was like, okay, he's not coming. And they went back to bed on their own, back in the room before I did. I was like, well, that's odd. That was super odd. I was like, oh, you gave up on him coming home, huh? Let me see how. Yeah, I got a ways to go yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie these ends off. Use my clips, these nice clips, so that I don't have an accident. And I'm going to show you that I'm just going to take a simple jump ring, and I think I'm going to use a gold jump ring since the pendant is gold. Am I going to use a gold jump ring? I think I'm going to use a silver jump ring. I don't think either way is wrong. I just think that I like these meaty ones. My jewelry tools are over here on my silver project. So we're just going to attach this with a jump ring. You know, I think that if I have a, let's see if these actually open. Some of them are a closed jump ring and some of them are open jump ring. And I was thinking a twisted jump ring would be nice if it was like a brownish color. Let me see if I got one of those. Oh, this is a nice one. Let's see what that one looks like. It's more of a softer gold. I like the softer gold. Whoops, sorry. Bumped you. I like the softer gold. It's pretty big, but let's see what it looks like. It's sort of like, hey, honey, move that furniture over there. Let's see if it'll go through this hole. And it does. Nice. And we'll put it over top there. And then you're like, nah, that doesn't look good. You got to move it back. He's such a good husband. There we go. Let's see what we think of that. Oh, I like it. Very nice. Very Christmassy. Very nice. All kinds of options. A twisted jump ring would look nice there too, but that jump ring looks like it was made for it. Okay. I'm going to keep adding these, and I'm going to show you what I would do to the end. I would add I'm just going to add a clasp with like usually 3 to 5 of these. Probably I'll just add 3 for this one. put these on one side and those on the other and crimp them. And that would make this finished. Now, if you need to move on with your day, you can, and I'm going to sit here and string these and get this completed. Sure would be nice if I could somehow just take these off this string right onto here. Let's see if I can, if there's a way. Let's see if it lets me do it. Yeah, that string is in the way. Oh, look at that. Wouldn't it be nice if I could just pull a section off? Let's see if they'll let me do that. Pull a section off, get it nice and even. Pull like a section off and see if I can go through all of them. Am I asking for too much for that? I got 2. Oh, got a few on that one. Few got out. I think that some very dainty size 11s or 6s bracelets like this with just a little charm on them would be nice too. I am planning to do some markets this when spring comes, and when I do, I'm gonna probably have me some very simple pieces like that. For those who, just really want plain and simple. It works for a little while to do a few, but not for very many. And this is a very small bead. Very, very small. I actually sent for a kit to do a stitch one, seed bead stitch, which is really, I make some. I think I have one listed that I did. They're kind of like, I do those because they're relaxing. They're not really, I never thought I would do seed beads, if I was honest. I did seed beads because my one mentor, she was phenomenal at it. And we did classes at a store that specialized in seed beads. It was, it was wonderful. It was like a candy store of beads. That woman had all kinds of stocks, and you could go, it was the color that would get you as to buying them. So I have quite a bit of seed beads, and so I could make some beautiful, and seed beads are not cheap. And that's when they used to sell them in the big long tubes. Now they sell them in these little teeny round things, They are, I will say that doing this, whoops, that one flew across the room. Doing this live it's been very inspiring to me to keep up with making jewelry and do what I do know and think through what I'd like to do. And I have had a request, and I've been thinking on it, maybe for the new year, to do some on Saturday, because people work and they can't really do it this time on Friday. So I'm thinking about it. I could give it a go. I don't know that I would not have my Friday show. Maybe I'll do something similar that I did on Friday on Saturday. That's looking nice, you guys. So let me let this side get caught up. I'll put the clip on that end. These clips are really nice. You can use Clothespins too. Clothespins work. Chip pin. There's chip, um, chip, holders. Put up the big ones you put on chips. Those work. They're kind of cumbersome, but some of them are small. My one friend Tina usually comes on. I haven't seen her today. She's probably busy with Christmas. I heard she got snow. Our snow's all melted. She's up in Michigan, so I imagine they get a lot more snow up there. Up north by the water. I didn't get my coffee today. I got a little bit of it over here. It's very strong. I forgot to run the dishwasher through when I woke up. It was not through, and I had the coffee pot and everything in there to get a good clean, and so I'm ready to go to the coffee shop and have some coffee with my new friend. We are having trouble getting that to go through there, aren't we? I like to finish what I'm doing, especially since I'm going to take this with me. I think there's a lot more good in the world than there is bad, even though the bad is bad. But I always get in the back of my head over and over again that God's like, none of this surprises me. I got it. I know exactly what's going on. And nothing gets past me. And I'm at work. And nobody will get away with anything, really. So that comforts me. Maybe that can comfort you. Oops, looks like I need to add way more on this side to make it even with the other side. I lose sight of that sometimes, so sometimes I need to be told that again and again, that life is just temporary here. And while it's hard for us to remember that, we notice that our parents are not here anymore. So that is a reminder that this life is just temporary. And there is a life after. I always remember my stepdad, when he died, he told my mom he had cancer and he knew he was dying. He was really young. He was only 29. And he said, if there's a way for me to get back and tell you anything, I will. I think that's so funny and innocent of a young man dying who, could, be so brazen to say, if there's a way, I'm glad my mom told us that he said that. I think that's funny. Still got to add more to this side. I guess if I don't get this one done, I can because I'm going to leave in about 15 minutes. I don't think I'll bump into my other beater's show today because she's out of country. So I'm not as worried about that today as I normally am. Okay, now we're talking. Let me get my ruler stuck under there. Let me see what my ruler is telling me we got. So we got 12, 13, 14, 15. And then the clasp will also take apart. So let me see. Yeah, that's still too tight. So I'll keep seed beading. I like when Tina comes on because she's real chatty with me. I was telling last time that coming online is like having an invisible friend. I have this decoupage face on the wall. I was like, I'll talk to the face. So I don't feel like I'm here by myself. I'm not sure, if I'm doing this for a year. I'm not sure if this is going to be a go, if I'm going to be able to find enough people, if there's interest, if I have the ability to do this. I do have the love and the passion to teach people to do jewelry. I'm not a natural teacher. I am more of a designer. I like to design and I like to inspire. And I like the younger people. I want the younger people to learn how to make jewelry and gain a skill. It's we need to pass these things on to people. The only reason I can do what I do is because I've had people invest in my life and teach me how to do it. So I want to pass it on, you know? Mm-mm. Move on to another bead. You can't get that one to work, go to the next one, right? I really do want to make this for my guest or my friend today, my new friend. Hopefully she's not watching because I can see a few people are watching. Oh, look, there's Maureen coming on. Hey, Marine lady, how are you doing? I hear you had your eyes done. I hope they're all healed now. That's no fun, having to have those done. I'm making a necklace today. I'm showing how to use up some seed beads. Get those seed beads used up. And these here are pretty small, but aren't those colors awesome? I just love those colors. Colors draw me. Colors and design. And it's funny. I never know what I might get myself into because I just do what I like. And then you find yourself making something that you would have never dreamed that you would have made. So I need to add some to this side now. Let's go back to this side. I'm trying to finish this Marie for a gift today. And I got plenty of pre-made things. I don't know this person well, so that's why I think a necklace is safe. And she might not wear earrings. Some people don't. I have a friend that I make earrings for that she doesn't have her ears pierced, and she's not going to get her ears pierced. And she wears those little adapters. You're not supposed to be watching Kathy Williams. So now I'm going to have to either, do you like your gift? Kathy Williams is the lady I'm having for coffee with today. So she's been watching, and that's funny. That is too funny. So do you like your gift? Do you like earrings? So this is the thing. Earrings, bracelet, or necklace? You tell me which. So Maureen says, I just finished making a set of wine charms for my sister-in-law. All nice. Nice, nice. I wish you could show pictures on here. Post them on your page or post them on the Good Vibes group, or so I can see them. We're friends on Facebook, so I can see what you do, what you make. I like seeing it. But nowadays it doesn't always pop up. It doesn't always pop up on there. I don't, I have to go. Oh, let's see. What do we got here? So, Kathy, when I ask you necklace, earrings, or earrings, I have like a zillion things made. So that's why I asked. But this one here, I was making for you. And if you like it, it's going to be yours today when I see you. And I don't know if it's long enough yet. Usually I go off on quarter after, but now I've been on a little longer because I was hoping to show how to make the clasp. And I'm going to have to look in my mirror because I got this big fat necklace, or this big fat, oh, that's perfect. So I'm going to add just 5 more on each side. So doing this, I've been able to get enough to go to market. And I got to tell Maureen though, because Maureen, I told you I had 100 and some pieces, but I really only have 40 to 50 finished pieces. So how many pieces do you take when you go to market? Oh, there's Tina. Morning, Tina. Kathy says, I do wear these things. This was just a fun Christmas color combo. It was the color that got me. I like that chocolate brown. It has a little heart in the middle, and it's just a metal charm. But it's big enough to make it festive for the holiday. So let me see if I got these matched up. Well, at least if I have Kathy on the line, she'll know exactly when I get ready to get off. So she'll know, so I'm not late today. Because I do want to get this one done. The bad thing is when you do a video this long, it really isn't really conducive for people to watch something this long on the internet. You barely can get people, I do social media for people, and you can barely get people to watch a 3-minute video because the analytics tell you how long they actually watch the video. Do you know that? They actually tell you that. So the analytics says, oh, you've had this many people they'll only watch the beginning part of it. They won't even watch the whole thing. Isn't that interesting? So our time span, we're used to jumping from one thing to the next to the next. That's why it's good to have hours and times where you just leave your phone somewhere else, because it's training our brains to just almost be ADHD, honestly. I'm just thankful I grew up without the phone, honestly. Okay. Are they even? Even Steven? Now you see, if I had added hadn't added those beads, I wouldn't have to make sure it was all even. Which is not a big deal to watch, but I'm just saying you could have screened right through it. But I've had to pay close attention to, are they even? Are they even? Even Steven. And they're even. Okay, it's time to add our clasp. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add the clasp. Actually, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do something different. I think I'm beginning to evolve when it comes to doing my clasps. Now, where are my... They're usually right here in front of me. I see my jump rings, but I don't see my Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, there they are hiding. I was like, I always have them right in front of me. These two containers, because I use these all the time, they were hiding. So these here are, what are they called, girlfriends? Remind me what they're called. My brain's not working today. You know, that's what happens when you don't sleep well. Your brain does not work well. It does not function as it should. Bead caps. So what we do is we add one of these on here. And what I'm doing differently is usually I attach this directly to it. But this time I'm going to use a jump ring and add it. I think it's going to give it a little bit of movement that I'm going to like, if you know what I mean. It's always good to have a little bit of movement. So we're going to crimp. Crimping is using a crimping tool. You go to the back part where it has a little teeth. You squeeze it. And basically what it does is it grabs both of those wires. You turn it on its side and it folds it over. And that holds all your beads on. I always give it a good tug. It's great. Snip off the wires. See if I can tuck that in if it's got a little bit sticking out. And it's not really doing that. So let's do it a little bit better. Let's see if I can get a little closer. Since usually if you have bigger beads, they kind of hide in there. It's not an issue, but these are smaller beads. So, okay. Then we take the bead cap over top of it, sandwich it on there. And what it does is it just hides the ugly little crimp tube. That's what it's called, a crimp tube. And we fold that over and we have our end. I'm going to take a jump ring. And I'm going to open that jump ring, put my clasp on, put it through my wire. And I think this is the new way. Usually I would just attach it right to it. But I think, you know, and at market, if I do that with my necklaces, at market, if someone has an issue and it needs to be longer or something, I can change that. And there's that end, all done like that. Let me pull it through and show it to you. There's that one. So we're going to do the same thing to the other end, where we're just going to put a jump ring. I'm going to put my my crimp tube on, pull my wire through. Look, everybody's telling me jump ring covers, lobster claws. You're out of camera. I do that a little bit sometimes. So I pull this as snug as I can, and I look at it because I don't want it to get hung up on something that my beads aren't all the way through, because we're closing the gap on this necklace. And so I pull it as tight as I can down on my beads. I make my little loop. And this stringing that we use is very, very tight and good stuff. I mean, it's going to last. My wires are nice and flat. I'm going to put them in that teeth, squeeze them. I'm going to turn it on its side, bend it, and give it an extra tug if I want. Now it's all bent over on itself, kind of folds over on itself. I'm going to cut this string off, and it's 9:45, and I went way over today. But we got our gift done, and I'm happy about that. Put my bead cover on, and out the door I'm going to go. I don't have very far to go. Kathy may have already left. I don't know how far it is from her house. Put this bead cap on. Take my crimpers. Bead cap on, crimpers, and there we go. And I try to, I want to, sometimes you can have a trouble with the bead cap and it being sharp, so I always feel it. I don't want anything sharp on somebody's neck. I'm going to close this one up really good. I'm going to open this one. Stick it on there. Close it up. And so what I learned today, there we're done. Look at that. Bead caps. And I think that's a nice look. I think here we go. We got our little chocolatey red Christmas necklace done. Thanks for hanging with me today, you guys. You have a good day. I hope you get lots done. You take care of yourself. You're enjoying the season. You play some music, and we'll see you later. Bye now.